Hey everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. A 2,000 point battle. Lord Tremendous of the Ogre Khans versus Emperor Ray Ray of the Empire of Sonistal. This is actually, obviously my second game I'm doing a battle report on, but I think in total it's like, sixth game, maybe the seventh game I've ever played of the Ninth Age, which means it still feels like your first kit of narcotic. It's just so good. I'm just kidding, kids. Don't do drugs. That'd be bad. But yeah, this is a good game. It's really, really close the whole time, and I think you're going to enjoy it. And just to throw this out there, I'm going to try something new on this one. I got a suggestion from the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Malorian. Yay! That maybe cut down my video times. I don't go over my lists. So what I'm going to do is I'm still going to post the list of both me and my opponent, but instead of me reading it and talking to you guys about it and stuff like that, I'm just going to play some cool music. And if you want to see it, see what it is, you can pause the video. It's real easy. It's the little it's the little lines in the bottom left of the view screen there. You can read it. All that stuff. So if you're interested in what we took in our lists, you can still see it, and if not, it speeds through real quick and cuts down the runtime of my videos a little bit so that you can get to the cool stuff even faster. But hey, you know what? Let me know what you think and stuff like that. I don't even know what I think about it yet because I'm yet to do it. So yeah, just something new. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Love you. Bye. Alrighty, so here we have my spells. As you can see, I got the good ones, so I was really happy with the spells that I was able to roll on this one. The Path of Butchery is nice. I'm enjoying it, but I gotta be honest with you, I want to try the other paths. I want to try Alchemy, I want to try Shadow, I want to try Fire. So, well, the Path of Butchery is really, really good, especially for Ogre Khans. Go figure. I'm very much toying with trying out some new paths. So don't think I'm going to stick to this one overly closely or anything like that. I'm going to probably toy around with the other ones very soon. Here's deployment, and as you can see, it's pretty compact there. For the most part, here's what I was thinking. I got my bruisers with my BSB over on the left side. I know my BSB is way, way, way out of position here, but I also knew that my opponent would know that, so I was hoping that that would throw him off, maybe force him over towards my left flank, giving my tribesmen and my mercenary veterans with my Great Shaman and my Great Khan a chance to flank, especially considering my opponent has that huge brick of halberdiers with some characters in it, and another unit of, Imperial Guard or whatever with the great swords and everything. So I was a little worried about those, and if I could trick this guy into giving me a flank, that'd be awesome. And maybe seeing my BSB with my bruisers over there, maybe tempting. You got to keep I know you don't know this, but the guy I'm playing is very good, very tactically minded, very clever. He sees through a lot of my BS. So, but that doesn't mean I'm not to stop trying. It just means he's unlikely to take the bait. But I figured, can't find out for sure if it's going to happen if you don't do it. I finished placing first. I placed everything but my characters. He placed a couple of units, and I placed my characters because I just said screw it. I like going first. I put my tribesmen and my my mercenary veterans in the middle there for that reason. If he didn't take the bait, then I got to slam these guys into that halberdier unit ASAP. If he does take the bait, great. Then I can slam into some flanks, and life is good. I have my thunder cannon on the rock there because I'm not going to use them as a chariot right away. I want to use them as support artillery. He's only got ballistic skill 3, so I'm kind of worried about that a little bit. But I also, I didn't know this at the time I placed him, but he took those 2 characters onto Pegasus up there on my left flank, his right, and I wanted to put a cannonball right down both of those guys and shut them down early. Not the easiest thing in the world to do, especially with the way cannons and everything work now, which is great in my opinion, but it's something I need to do. I need to start putting wounds on these guys down range as soon as I can. My giants and my little unit, 3-man unit of bruisers there, they're going to take care of my right flank. I'm going to send them after that fast cav because I know he's going to chaff me up. I could tell when he vanguarded. But those guys, I knew he was going to put something near that hill. I knew he was Empire of Sonstills, so I was looking to get a hold of that hill, so I figured a giant and a little unit of bruisers. If nothing else, if he just shoots at those 2 guys, it's a worthy sacrifice so the rest of my army can get into his and hopefully do what ogres do best. And that's murder little pink skins, So that was the plan. That's why I set up like this. You'll see how it goes. Here's my opponent's right flank. He's got his 2 captains on Pegasus with, different bells and whistles, I'm sure. He's got a little unit of skirmishers, bowmen or something like that, or I can't remember the actual name for them yet. I'm still learning everything about this game. It's going to take me a little time. Be patient. And his unit of Imperial Guard, I believe, and his general is in there. I think his general's in there. And, all the great swords and everything like that. So that is going to be a tough nut to crack. And then here we have his center. Obviously, that's a huge unit of seasoned halberdiers. I like to think that they're seasoned with paprika, but you know what? I'll let my ogres be the decision makers on that one. His level 2 wizard and his BSB are in there. Behind them on the hill is his mortar team, as well as his volley gun team. And oh my god, those volley guns. They are painful. You'll see. And I know, spoiler, I'm a scumbag. What can I tell you? And then a big unit of crossbowmen, or whatever they call it. Basically a unit of guys with crossbows, whatever their names are. I'm sorry. I'll learn the nomenclature as I learn more about the game. And my opponent's left flank, which consists of 2 units of rightsmen, rightsguard, right riders. I'm not sure. Those things, they're fast cav that shoot. They do much pew pew. And yeah, I know they're just chaff, but they're chaff with teeth, and I don't like it. Here's my right flank, which consists of my bruisers and my slave giant. And here's my center. On the right there are my mercenary veterans, and you can't really see him that well, but the guy in the white stone is my Great Khan, or Lord Tremendous, as I like to call them. And then to the left there are some really cool looking models that represent my tribesmen, as well as the big, hedonist bot looking guy, which represents my Great Shaman. No, it's not my model. I'm borrowing it from the store. It's actually the store owner's model, but he's a giver, and he's letting me borrow some stuff so that I don't have tons of proxies on the table. And my left flank, which consists of my Thunder Cannon, Dozer and Smig, and my unit of bruisers with my BSB. Count. No, he's not going to be my BSB for much longer. He's just a stand-in because, believe it or not, I know there's no reason for me to tell you this, but I'm going to anyway, so sit back and enjoy. That is one of the first models I ever converted way back in the day when I played ogres, when they existed, and there was an 8th edition. Actually, it was 7th edition I played him. And yeah, I converted an ogre into a vampire ogre because I'm crazy, and I thought it would look cool. And I was right. And here's top of 1 after movement. And as you can see, I went zooming across the table because Daddy needs to eat all the humans. My mercenary veteran unit does have the banner of speed, so they're actually movement 7 now. That's why they're slightly ahead of everyone else. I moved them up. Again, this was me trying to mess with my opponent. I guarantee it didn't work. But I set the tape measure out for 14 inches, explained to him that I had the banner of swiftness, and then I only went up 12 inches, and then I set my tribesmen behind it at 11 inches, right? Trying to mess with him, make him think that I'm an inch or two closer than I really am, force the charge. He possibly fails it, which makes my charge a lot easier. It's not going to work against this guy. It's just me trying to be clever. It doesn't always work. And then, of course, my bruisers on the left flank there, they move up. I'm pretending like I'm ignoring his Pegasus guys because I'm not actually pretending I kind of forgot what I was going to shoot at when I deployed, and instead, as you can see on the hill back here, I moved my thunder cannon to face his volley gun because I wanted to try to shoot it and kill it because it scares me, but, well, you know, I should have probably shot at the Pegasus, but, you know, it's not a bad target either. I'm just a little disappointed with myself for going away from my original plan. On the right flank, there was a little bit of action. He vanguarded really, really close, and my bruisers, I mean, they only needed to roll a 7 in order to hit these guys. So I was like, you know what? That's the easiest thing to roll on 2d6. Charge. The first unit fled. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to roll my leadership, nailed it, and I'm going to go after the next unit. And I charged them as well. They also fled. So that's why my 3-man unit of bruisers is kind of held back there. Both of his units fled pretty far. My giant moves up his full movement. He marched to full 12. I know I'm going to take some shots from the archers, but I figure if they're shooting at my giant, they're not shooting at my mercs, they're not shooting at my tribesmen, they're not shooting at my bruisers. I'll sacrifice my 150-point giant in order to make sure my 200-plus point units with characters in them make it across the table into combat where they're going to be effective. So, see, I'm trying to use strategy and tactics. I'm just not very good at it. Here's a better picture of my bruisers failing a charge and causing both of his fast cav guys to go damn near clear across back into his deployment zone. During the magic phase, I get Bone Crusher off on his mortar team, and I know I needed 6s. I got the big one off, the 2d6 or whatever it is, and I know I needed 6s. Hey, I've rolled them before. I end up rolling 1, killing one of the crew members, making them only 1 or 2/3 as effective as they were before, or whatever that math is. I'm terrible at math, but yay, I killed a guy, and that I felt good about that with Bone Crusher. That's awesome. Nothing happens in my shooting phase. I miss with my cannon, and nothing else really interesting in magic happens. So we go over here to bottom of 1 after movement. And there's not a ton. His skirmishers on the left flank came up a little bit. Both of the Pegasus characters came up to harass my bruisers, and that's when I went, oh yeah, I was going to shoot at the little bird horses. And yeah, I'm stupid. As you can see, neither the great swordsman nor the halberdiers fell for my trap or trickery or intelligence or whatever, cleverness, because it was none of those things. Like I said, my opponent is not easily fooled. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying, it just means it's never going to work. Both of his unit of fast cav do rally, which, damn it, but they do, and they come back to lay down some pain on both my giant and my bruisers. So, best laid plans and all, right? There's a better picture of his fast cav rallying and turning to put down some pain on my guys. During his magic phase, he gets a spell off. I don't remember which one it was. I believe he's using the Path of Alchemy, and he was trying to do some damage to my mercenary veteran unit. I can't remember what it was. I think it was just the magic missile one, but he rolls it with overwhelming power. Overwhelming power. And I let it go because I'm like, why not? And it goes off. It doesn't do anything to my unit, and then he has to roll on the miscast chart, and he ends up rolling a 7. Which is outstanding. All the benefit for me, and none of the benefit for him. That's the way I like these things to go. In the end, nothing actually ends up happening. I mean, I think he rolled it on 2d6 and got boxcars. But in the end, it didn't really matter because nothing really happens to his unit. I think maybe one guy dies and his caster's fine. He loses what little magic dice he had left, if anything, and that's the end of it. So, not like a game-changing miscast, but you know what? Maybe next turn it'll make him a little bit more nervous. I don't know. We'll see. During the shooting phase, his volley gun opens up on my Merc Vets. Thank God we were long range, but he's still able to pop one guy. Does 3 wounds and pops a Merc Vet before he can get in and do some glorious, glorious damage in combat. Good for my opponent, bad for me, but it just makes me want to make this next charge even more. So I got to deal with that volley gun, though. Maybe a Kin Eater or maybe a character that's just suited up to go after him, but I need more artillery defense in this army. I'm starting to see that. Then over here, the fast cav exact a little bit of revenge and put a wound onto my giant, which is just rude. And then the other unit of fast cav shoots at my bruisers and are able to do 3 wounds to them. These crack shot mother frickers. God! So yeah, they gotta die. Then his crossbow guys shoot, and after, just a cloud of bolts hit my giant, he's bleeding from 2 more orifices he didn't have a moment ago. So he's about half dead now, and that's really bad. And then this crackhead shoots at me. One of the guys on the Pegasus thing has the Skull Splitter. I didn't know. So he kills one of the bruisers, and I think the other guy had a pistol or something like that. I'm not 100%, and he fired and put a wound through. So yeah, I'm just getting holes from range everywhere. My poor army's getting Swiss cheesed, and I find that unacceptable. So I'm starting to realize that I've got the proper amount of magic defense, but my army needs some sort of range defense, or at least something to put pressure on range. So I'm thinking maybe a Kin Eater, or maybe like a Khan that has a 4-up ward save that just runs in there and is real threatening. Something, but this game right here has convinced me I need something to put pressure on ranged attacks, and soon. So with that all said and done, we don't have any close combat, so we go over to top of 2 after movement. And as you can see, I got some movements in. On the right flank there, my remaining 2 bruisers, who did pass their panic check, in case you were curious, and my giant, my bruisers charged the leftmost unit, my leftmost unit of Fast Cav. The idea here was I figured he was going to flee, right? And if he fled, maybe he bounces through his crossbowman, forcing the panic check. Maybe he just blocks the crossbowman. Either way, that's great. They're out of my way. Like I said, my opponent is not stupid. I wish he was. This game would have been a lot easier if he was dumb. But he's not. He's actually a very smart guy. And he saw that, and he goes, stand. I'm like, damn it. And he's standing shot, too, which is even worse. So I'm like, all right. Well, I have my giant right there, and they're in his line of sight. So I'm like, okay, they have to take a terror test. Maybe they'll fail the terror test. So I'm like, all right, the giant's going to charge him. And he's like, stand. I'm like, damn it, take a terror test. And he rolls snake eyes or something just to add insult to injury. Wow, words are difficult tonight. Anyway, so that's why my giant and my remaining 2 bruisers on the right flank there are into his Fast Cav. The pro is I'm going to beat these guys to death because I only took 1 wound from his stand and shoot reaction. The negative is now I'm going to probably get shot to pieces by the remaining Fast Cav, the volley gun possibly, and the crossbowman. But again, like I said during deployment, it's okay because that was the sacrifice I had planned to make. My mercenary veterans and my tribesmen both charge the halberdiers. As you can see, only the merc veterans make it. Everybody else just kind of moves up a little bit. I believe my bruisers and BSB just moved into the forest. And my thunder cannon turns to face the Pegasus riders because it's time to take out the bird horses right now. There's a better picture of my giant and my bruiser slamming into the Fast Cav unit, and yeah, they're dead. And there's a better picture of my Merc Vets with my Great Khan slamming into his halberdier unit, his seasoned Paprika halberdiers, and my tribesmen failing the charge, probably because of hedonism friggin' shaman in there. And I was wrong. I did charge his unit of skirmishing bowman guys with my bruisers, and I failed, which sucks. During the magic phase, I'm able to get regen off on my Merc Vet unit, which is going to help a ton. But I ended up rolling overwhelming power in order to do it. And that's why I got it off. My opponent just kind of smiled at me and says, you got it. I'm like, you jerk. And wouldn't you know it, I roll snake eyes on my miscast, which is about par for the course for me. I did only roll it with 4 dice, so my caster wasn't immediately dead. It was 50-50, and I end up rolling a 4, saving his life. However, my entire unit took damage, and in the end, I took 3 wounds, killing a tribesman. So I'm still glad I got regen off. I'm glad we got to try out the miscast table, even though it was much more dangerous for me. Probably because I was happy about what happened to him when he miscast, but it is what it is, and 1 tribesman is down for some regen. Not to mention my magic phase is over, so we'll see what happens. In combat over here, obviously, we decimate the Fast Cav. I overrun with my giant in the hopes that I can get like into charge arc on the crossbowman with him. Unfortunately, I roll like an 11 for his overrun, and he goes right outside of the ability to charge him next turn, which is foul. Meanwhile, my bruisers restrain, or I'm sorry, don't restrain. They don't overrun, and they just turn to face the crossbow guys because somebody has to. But hey, I'm glad that combat worked out for me at least. We go into combat over here, and I get it is Wizard issues a challenge. Well, the only thing in that unit that can accept it is my Great Khan, Lord Tremendous. So he does, and he's got the item of Identity Theft, where Strength, Toughness, Initiative, and Attacks all get swapped. So I've got Level 2 human wizard stats, he's got Great Khan stats, right? So he swings away at me and puts 3 wounds through on my Great Khan. I make some lucky saves and he kind of rolls like butt. In return, I take my attack, swing, I hit him, I wound him, because I do have a great weapon still, and I have Cadai's Maul, which is D3 wounds, and I do 3 wounds to him and kill his wizard. So total luck there, totally huge that I actually pulled that off. I was very pleased, and as you can see, a bunch of halberdiers died to my awesome. In the end, he's steadfast and he sticks it out, but 10 of his guys plus his wizard is dead, and I'm sitting pretty here. I'm pretty happy that this is happening. His great sword, or his Imperial Guard guys can't see me to charge me into my flank, so it's looking pretty good for the home team here. We go over here to bottom of 2 after movement, and what happens is his Imperial Guard guys with the great swords, they try to charge my tribesman unit. I stand, and he fails his charge. He rolled like 1 less than he needed to actually hit me, which is huge. His Pegasus captains, they come flying down in the middle of there to put some more pressure on my bruisers and stuff. Possibly my tribesmen now, I'm not really sure. Is Fast Calf moved to harass the bruisers now, because really they're the only threat now that my slave giant overran way too far. Crossbow guys don't move, War Machine Hill doesn't move, and I think his skirmishing guys move up a little bit to get a better shot on my bruisers. That's about it. There's a better picture of his Imperial Guard failing their charge, which is huge. He doesn't have a magic phase anymore, so we go into shooting, and the Fast Cav drop another bruiser while putting a wound on the one survivor. Crazy good shooting by those guys. And once again, of course, because he doesn't like being all by himself, the poor bastard fails his panic check and flees through the impassable terrain. Now, this is something that we didn't know during the game, but apparently when you run through enemy units or impassable terrain when you're fleeing, it's a dangerous terrain 3 check, and I don't think we realized that at this time. I think we figured out during this game. So I rolled the dice. I didn't roll a 1, so I didn't take a wound, but I do believe I rolled a 3, so he should have another wound on him. But, call it part of the learning curve. I suck. Still not done with shooting. The crossbow guys fire away at the slave giant and put 2 more wounds on him. So he's losing a lot of blood, actually. That's not good. Not to be outdone, the volley gun locks onto my tribesman unit and puts like 9 wounds into these guys. 9 or 10 wounds into these guys, killing 3. We pass our panic check, but man, that volley gun's gotta go. Then, of course, his little skirmishing unit fires away and easily plinks off another bruiser because, why not? And then we go into combat. This is just as good as the first combat, only now my Great Khan isn't in a challenge. My mercenaries are able to obliterate a bunch more to halberdiers. I do lose a merc in return. I win this combat. They're still steadfast and they stand, but they're at like half strength. So if this keeps going the way it's going, I'm going to obliterate that unit and I'm okay with it. So with all that said and done, we go over here to top of 3 after movement. My bruisers charge the skirmish unit and they flee, so I redirect into his Imperial Guard and make it. Meanwhile, my remaining tribesmen and Great Shaman charge in there as well, just to make sure that combat goes my way. The one remaining Bruiser guy, he continues to flee because what can you do? My Thunder Cannon MVP right there, he charged the little bastard with that shooty weapon, Skull Crusher or whatever it is, and it chose to flee, but it fled real short, and I proceed to roll boxcars on my charge. So I end up going 18 inches and catching the bastard, killing him dead. I do end up in the forest. I do take a wound because of dangerous terrain, but so worth it getting a hold of that bastard. Meanwhile, my slave giant, he kind of moves up. He fails his ability to, he fails his leadership check to march. So I just try to get to the edge of the crossbow guys. That way, if they move, they're at -2 to shoot instead of just -1 because of that unwieldy rule. And I know the fast cab could just march up and shoot me dead, but at least they're over there and not going after anything else. Hopefully that's the plan anyway. But yeah, that's the way I moved, and that's how it worked out. Here's a better picture of my Thunder Cannon catching that captain on a Pegasus, which is outstanding. And here's a better picture of my Bruisers, BSB, Great Shaman, and remaining tribesmen slamming the great swords, looking to exact some much-needed revenge. I think during the magic phase, I'm able to get regen back up on my Merc Vets, but other than that, nothing else happened. Nothing happened in the shooting, and so we go into combat, and as you can see, I have obliterated the remaining Halberdier unit. Paprika, my ass, we kill them, no problem. I think we end up they break and we run them down is what ends up happening, because I don't have a picture of it right away, but I did end up like real close to the mortar. I didn't run into it, but I ended up real close to the mortar. It is very much worth noting that my opponent, this is an actual roll that my opponent made. So while it may seem like I'm making a whole bunch of tactically genius decisions here, really it's coming down to the fact that his dice like me more than they like him right now. And to prove that, we go over here into combat, and as you can see, there's a lot of guard dead. I haven't lost any bruisers, and my tribesman has taken one more wound. So he's on the cusp of death, but they're stubborn and they stick it, but there's not nearly as many of them anymore. So with that, we go over here to bottom of 3 after movement, and there's not a ton. His crossbow guys do take the bait and turn to face the slave giant, because what else are they going to shoot at, really? And his Pegasus guy is remaining one on the left flank there, tries to charge my Thunder Cannon and fails. Really about it. Meanwhile, his skirmishing unit of bowmen rally, and they just kind of reform where they're at, and that's really it. Everything else he has is dead in combat or a war machine. There's a better picture of his failed charge, and it was actually a big-time fail, so he needed I think he needed like a 9 or a 10, so it wasn't like the easiest charge in the world to make, but he failed it, and that actually is probably the only reason that cannon is still in this game. There's no magic phase for him, so we go into shooting, and his fast cab are able to finish off my giant. Not a surprise. It was the plan after I deployed him and everything like that for him to be, you know, basically a pin cushion, but still hurts my heart to see him go down. Then over here, his mortar shoots at my one remaining fleeing bruiser, and it scatters right into our combat. It ends up hitting my great shaman, my tribesmen, and a bunch of his great swords, which is actually not that big of a deal at all, because what ends up happening is nothing. He rolls so poorly to wound that my tribesman is fine, and my great shaman is fine, and every single one of his greatsword guys is fine. I don't know. I guess the thing fired butterfly kisses at us or something. And then, of course, the volley gun shotgun blasts one of my mercenary veterans into the next world because it's right there, and golly, I need to use kin eaters. I really do. Then his unit of rallied skirmishers shoot at my bruiser and are able to put another wound through on him. And I'm not sure, I should probably look at the rule real quick, but the skirmishing bowman guys, do they get to shoot when they rally? Is that light troops, or is that just a fast cav rule? You know, I'm going to have to look that up. I'm not sure if we did that right, but regardless, that's the way we played it, is his skirmishing unit of bowmen shot and did another wound to my bruiser. So he's got one left. And we go into combat over here. And we made some mistakes. His character was able to make way. Well, I guess it's not a mistake because he does have a guy in his frontage. So anyway, his character makes way over into my unit of bruisers and gets into a challenge with my BSB. I guess he's been in for a little bit. But we get into this combat. His guard are able to take out my one remaining tribesman. So there goes the unit. But in the end, I win this combat. He's still stubborn. He still makes his check. And we go to the top of 4 after movement. My mercs go right into the mortar because it's the only thing they can see, and I'm getting real tired of being shot at, even though I know I'm going to be shot at again. My one remaining bruiser does rally finally, which is outstanding, and my thunder cannon turns to face the, what's it called? Pegasus captain, because I don't want to be charging a flank and a rear by that thing, and I figure I shoot a cannonball at him, maybe deter him from getting close to me. That's it, though. I mean, this game is really coming down to the wire. There's a better picture of my mercs finally getting into that stupid mortar. During the magic phase, I'm able to get regen off on my bruisers unit, which is good because they're taking a little bit of damage there, and I don't want them to die. And I'm also able to get the +1 strength spell, I believe, off on my merc veterans. And you know what? I just do it because I can. What's wrong with strength 6 on my merc veterans, right? We go into combat here, and I'm gonna say it right now. I did not realize that if the rank and file were in base contact that they could still hit rank and file. I thought if they were only in base to base with the character, like in 8th edition, that they could only hit the character, therefore they were out of the combat. I did not realize that my rank and file could have been attacking his rank and file. Luckily for me, I was in base contact with some of his rank and file at the beginning of the game, or I'm sorry, the combat, and I was able to take out almost all of them. His lord is still hanging in there with my Khan. It's a really, really good combat. They're still stubborn, unfortunately, and they stay. But I'm winning the combats at least, so that's something. And then his mortar gets pulverized by my mercenary veterans. I didn't even bother sending my character in to do anything because what's the point letting get attacks? My merc vets can take them out no problem, and they did. So we turn to face the volley gun because it's going to get one more shot at me, and then I want it pulverized. I just hope that I don't fail a panic test. So here we go at bottom of 4 after movement. Not a ton. His crossbow guys take off. They know I'm going to run into his volley gun. They know I'm going to overrun. They don't want me overrunning into them. So they move out of the way. His fast cav come up to just sweep me with shots the entire way over into the crossbowman, and his skirmishing unit just stays where they're at because there's no point in moving. His captain on a Pegasus does move up to take some more pot shots at my thunder cannon, and other than that, everything else he has is dead in combat or a war machine. During the shooting phase, they finally take out my bruiser. I don't remember if it's the Pegasus captain or the skirmishing bowman, but something kills him, and it's sad. Then over here, the volley gun opens fire and kills it off one of my mercenary veterans. I do make my panic check, which is good, but I'm down to 1 vet and my character, which I'm not pleased about. Then in combat over here, my BSB gets killed by his general in a challenge. I lose this combat because I think I only kill like 1 or 2 of the remaining guard, and my Great Shaman actually makes his break check, but my bruisers do not, and they flee like 5 inches. Luckily, they can't be pursued because I'm still in combat with him, but unfortunately, I'm still in combat with him all by myself, and my bruisers are going to have to rally, turn, and then charge, and it's just not looking good for the home team. So, I mean, that was it. So we go over here to top of 5 after movement, and my bruisers rally, which is huge, and they turn to face exactly where they're looking. My general and the 1 remaining merc go into the volley gun, and that, as far as I'm concerned, is the game. I'm trying to kill this damn thing because all volley guns are made by elves, as far as I'm concerned. Those things need to die. My thunder cannon turns to face the Pegasus captain because I want to volley gun into his face all the cannonballs. And that's it. Everything else that I had is dead. There's a better picture of my unit, or what's left of my Khan and my unit slamming into the volley gun. And there's a better picture of my bruisers rallying! During the shooting phase, I volley gunned that captain into oblivion. I don't remember how many wounds I do, but it was enough to put him down, and good riddance to Flying Horse Dude. In the magic phase, I get an augment off on my Great Shaman. I don't remember exactly what it was, but hey, I'll take anything at this point. And then we go into combat, and the volley gun finally is destroyed. I don't care how the rest of the game pans out. I killed the volley gun. Moral victory, Ogre Cons. I forget to show it, but nothing happens in the combat. It's I lose combat, but I stay, which is awesome. And then we go over here to bottom of 5 after movement. The only real movement is his fast calf move up to shoot up my mercenary vet and my Great Khan, and his skirmishing unit of bowmen move up to try to get in the way of my bruisers. That's it. During the shooting phase, he does exactly what he planned to do. The fast cav are able to put enough wounds into the unit where they don't hurt my Great Khan, but they finish off my mercs, killing the unit. I'm just losing too many points in these last couple of rounds. He's really turning it around fast. And like I said in the beginning, dude's really good at this whole tactics and stuff like that. He never gave up, and it's starting to pan out for him. Then we go into combat, and I lose combat again. I don't lose because of wounds or anything like that. I think he's just got a banner. We don't do any wounds to each other, and I stay. My Great Shaman is too lazy to flee. What can I tell you? Nothing else going on in that round. We go over here to top of 6 after movement, and my general tries to charge the crossbowman. It's a long charge. I needed a 9 to hit him, and I failed. I end up right where you're looking, which is really, really bad. My thunder cannon, seeing that my general is exposed, runs up to try to get a hold of the fast cav. I do take another wound for going through the forest because chariot, and my bruisers charge into the skirmishing bowman. Believe it or not, my opponent is the one that arranged everything, and I saw it real quick. If my bruisers can kill those guys and overrun or even pursue, they're going to slam into the combat with the guard and my Great Shaman and possibly still win me this game. So, fingers crossed. There's a better picture of my general failing a charge, and I'm not mad at him. It was a longer charge, and he's been kicking ass and taking names this whole game, but it would have been nice to finish strong. And there's a better picture of my bruiser slamming into his bowman, and if nothing else, I'm glad these guys are about to die. And there's a better picture of my thunder cannon taking another wound for going through the forest. It's one of those mechanics. I mean, chariots shouldn't be running into trees and stuff like that, but yeah, that's where his wounds are coming from. During the magic phase, I'm able to get, I think, +1 toughness off on my Great Shaman, which is good because he's going to need all the help he can get. And then we go into combat. My bruisers are able to destroy all but 3 of the bowmen, which is great. They overrun. The bowmen get away, but I slam into this combat with the general and my Great Shaman, which is huge because now maybe I'll be able to save them. Unfortunately, I don't know at this point that rank and file can always attack rank and file, and since I'm only in base-to-base contact with the character and he's in a challenge with my Great Shaman, I don't swing with my bruisers. I'm just hoping that the charge and the flank put me over the top and help me win this combat. So it's unfortunate because I probably could have smashed the unit, or he could have attacked me and smashed me with the one guy who knows, but we'll never know. And I honestly think I would have gotten the unit had I realized that and been able to attack. But, can't know everything, so it is what it is. Oh, and I'm sorry. I do win this combat, but they're stubborn and they stay. That's it for my turn, so we go here to the end of the game, bottom of 6 after movement, and there's not really much. I do believe his archers rally, even at half leadership, with their generals half leadership or whatever. They make it and they rally, which sucks. And his fast cav move over just to get a better shot at my Great Khan, and that's about it. There's a better picture of his bowman rallying, which sucks. And during the shooting phase, he's able to fire and kill my tyrant. Not only did I fail all my saves, I failed them spectacularly. Oh, man, that one hurt. And he's just gearing up. He's collecting so many points at the very last minute. It's beautiful for him, but it's soul-crushing for me. We go into combat over here, and once again, I don't know anything about rank and file, always being able to attack rank and file. So we go into combat. He's able to wound me, so flank to his banner and a wound. He wins by 1, and we don't go anywhere. We both stand. With that, guys, that's it. That's the end of the game right here. And as you can see, there's not much left on either side. He's got his crossbowmen, 1 unit of fast cav, a couple of guard, 3 bow guys, and his general. I've got mostly the same. So really, really close game that came right down the bottom of 6. And honestly, just a fantastic game. I have no complaints. I do realize that I need more range defense, or at least something to put pressure on them, some sort of fast-moving character or unit that gets a hold of them. I was thinking maybe, like a Khan with a 4-up ward that just soaks it up and gets across the table real fast, or the Tigers or something like that, or maybe even the Kin Eater, just to show up. And I know he'll probably just get shot to pieces the minute he comes up on the table, but something. And but at the same time, the Merc veterans did amazing and everything. And you know what? Let's get to the recap. All in all, it ended up being a draw for Lord Tremendous. I got 1,517 out of him. He got 1619 out of me for a difference of about 102 points, which is not terrible, all things considered. I mean, that was a hell of a game. I ended up losing my general, my BSB Khan, my unit of 3 bruisers, my giants, my mercenary veterans, and my tribesmen. Lost them all. A lot of that was towards the end, too, at just the right moment, so can't even be upset. Well played by my opponent. He ended up losing all 3 of his captains, the BSB and the 2 guys on the bird horses. He lost his wizard, and that was just dumb luck on my part. He did lose his entire unit of halberdiers, the paprika ones. He lost his volley gun, thank God. He lost his mortar, and he lost a unit of reiters. But you know what? This was a really, really good game. I mean, it looked like I had it at first, and then just completely turned around towards the end. There was a lot of back and forth, and to be honest, there was really no clear winner at any point, and considering it was a draw, yeah, it pretty much stands true. I gotta be honest, I thought I had it. I thought I was going to get him, and this is going to be a victory for me, and it turned on me really, really fast, and I have no one to blame but myself, and probably my opponent. I think I can lay a little of the blame at his feet. But, you know what? I learned that the volley guns are incredibly super-duper dangerous. Got me rethinking my whole list just to deal with volley guns. Like I said, I've had the idea of using the little tigers. I've had the idea of using the kin eaters, souping up a character to go, war machine hunting. Whole bunch of different ideas. I'm also toying with putting the Hellfist on my Great Khan and using the marks of... the dark gods in order to try to maybe help me out, like Lust or something like that. Who knows? My mercenaries did absolutely amazing this game. That unit is a meat grinder. I'm actually debating on whether or not I even need a character in there. And I was also pretty impressed with the Giant. I gotta be honest, Giants, in my opinion, have always sucked. I wanted to try one just to see if 9th edition had fixed them. And I gotta be honest with you, he did really well. Don't get me wrong, I know he was more of a pincushion than anything else in this game, but the fact that he took as much damage as he did, the 5-up armor was really nice, the high toughness, the mobility... I mean, I'm going to swap them out and try other things, but Giants are actually viable now, and if that doesn't speak volumes about the 9th Age, I don't know what does. But you know what? This was still really, really amazing. I know we made some mistakes. Please do not hesitate to point them out to me in the comment section and stuff like that. We're learning. We need everybody to point out all the mistakes that we made. Otherwise, we're going to keep making them. We are still learning. We're studying the rules as fast as we can. But anybody who can help us out by being like, hey guys, no, we'd appreciate it. For example, rank and file, always being able to attack rank and file. That would have made these combats a lot more interesting. But you know what? Even with the mistakes that were made and all that stuff, this was still one of the best games I've ever been able to play. Just an outstanding game, outstanding opponent, and I can't wait to play again. I literally wish I was independently wealthy so that all I had to do in life was play the Ninth Age. I mean, I could die a happy man. I know a lot of you are rolling your eyes, but it's true. This game is too fun, and I'm loving every minute of it. But you know what, guys? Don't just take my word for the Ninth Age. Go to the website, www.the-ninth-age.com, and check it out. Look, there's a picture right there. It's got the website. It's got the little barcode scanny thing in the bottom right there. It's got all the little fluff. It's got the fancy symbol. Come on, guys. Go check it out if you haven't already. It's free. It doesn't get any better than that. This is the fantasy game we all have been begging for and the one that we all deserve. Go check it out. You won't regret it. You can thank me by playing a game against me. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this battle report, number 2 of my Ninth Age battle report career. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks!